Hey, what is up guys? This is Nishi from MST.TV here, back with another Market Watch episode. We have had yet another action-packed week on the Yu-Gi-Oh market with a ton of very significant price jumps taking place. Of course, YCS Pasadena was the first big event to have the new cards from Magnificent Mavens legal, and with Ishizu tier limits taking 26 of the top 32 spots, it should come as absolutely no surprise that we saw several cards spike in price as a direct result of the event. At the same time, though, we have the usual variety of things that are influencing our markets, between reprints in Magnificent Mavens and Battles of Legend Crystal Revenge, as well as text for various strategies, prompting seemingly random buyouts. Let's get started. Alright, so to kick things off, we're taking a look at Bestial Magnamut. So Ishizu tier limits are clearly a much better deck than everything else this format, with them taking most of the top spots at YCS Pasadena. One of the most popular tech options that saw a lot of play in a lot of strategies was the Bestial engine, consisting of Magnamut, Druidworm, and sometimes Serenir. These cards are key for interacting with your opponent, not only putting a body onto your own board, but also banishing a key card out of the opponent's graveyard and preventing Ishizu tier limits from fusion summoning. Magnamut is a key member of the package, as it helps to search for another bestial monster during the end phase to provide a follow-up interaction during the next turn. The engine was definitely important, as all 4 of the top decks at the YCS, including 3 Ishizu tier and 1 Sprite, all ran considerable bestial packages in the main deck, and I think that this definitely suggests that if you want to see competitive success this format, you kind of need to be running bestials in the main board. Because of this, Magnamut has actually gone up even further from its already high price point. Early on, Magnamut was a $10 super rare, definitely one of the more expensive supers that we've had from a core set in recent memory. However, I think people were a bit afraid to approach the card, assuming that its price would naturally come down as more and more of the product was opened. The exact opposite happened, however, as we seem to be entering a tier 0 format, and the importance of running bestials in the main board is very clear. Because of this, we've seen Magnamuts continue their upward trend, now sitting up at $17 per copy, and with Darkwing Blast being a brand new set, I think that there's a chance that this could go up even further depending on how the next couple of big events go. This is definitely a card you guys will want to make sure that you grab if you're looking to play competitive Yu-Gi-Oh at all this format, since we shouldn't be expecting this card to be reprinted until the 2023 Megatons. And if you are opening a box of Darkwing Blast to support your local OTS store or anything like that, this card is worth more than a decent chunk of the Ultras and even Secret Rares from the set, so make sure you keep an eye out for this card and set it aside. Next up, we have the Herald of Orange Light, so this is definitely an important card for us to take note of with the popularity of the Ishizu cards, obviously most notably in tier limits, but the cards can also be combined with other strategies such as Naturia and be successful. Herald of Orange Light is one of the choice hand traps for those strategies, as you can discard this and any of the Ishizu monsters to negate any of your opponent's activated monster effects. This is actually kind of insane, as it allows you to negate cards like Dimension Shifter and Abyss Dweller, 2 of the main counters to the Ishizu tier limit deck, so that you can keep playing, and maybe this will even help to get the deck going by initiating mills. Because of this, everyone is realizing that they need a set of Herald of Orange Light in order to play the game, so all versions of the card are constantly being bought up. Originally, we did see these spike back when Drytron was really popular, but the cards did settle back down a bit since then. Now they are rebounding back up with all of the recent hype. So for the Ultimate Rares, we are looking at around $180 a copy right now, and then for the other printings, including the Structure Deck Common, the Original Rare, and then the recent OTS Tournament Pack Super, those are all coming in around that $10 to $15, maybe a little bit higher range, which is still quite a good amount considering how many printings the card has and how much more easily accessible it used to be. If you want to play Ishizu tier in this tier 0 format, then you might have to just suck it up and buy the card at its current price, since the card did just get reprinted. If it does get another one, it might not be until after the deck has gotten hit and the card will have already fallen in price. One last card here that was a tech at YCS Pasadena. This is Ghost Sister and Spooky Dogwood. This is a card that a bunch of people chose to run in their side deck at the event as a way to win the game in time. Basically, the idea is that you chain this to the effect of a tier limit monster in the graveyard, and anything that your opponent summons is going to give you a significant life point differential over your opponent. Now it does have the downside of you having to draw it, right? So unlike Skullmark Ladybug or Volcanic Scattershot, you can't just dump these into the graveyard with a card effect, but the card saw a lot of side deck usage in Niagara, and it's hard to argue with the results when a significant number of players in the top 32 got there with this card in the side deck. Now fortunately for players, Spooky Dogwood has actually gotten quite a few reprints, and most of them are very easily accessible. The printing that has gone up, however, is of course the original secret rare from Dark Neostorm, with that being the highest possible rarity of the card. You're looking at having to pay between $20 to $25 for an unlimited copy, and then $25 to $30 for a secret rare first edition, which is I think the highest that the card has been since it came out. As long as the time rules are a thing, I think that this is going to be a card that people will use in the side deck consistently. So if you do want to grab a set for yourself in the highest rarity because you like blinging out your deck, maybe it's not the worst idea. On the other hand though, it might just be better to be content with grabbing a set of the Megaton Supers for like a quarter each and just calling it a day. Up next, we have Baronne de Fleur. Now, Baronne is a card that I think a lot of people have had their eyes on for a while. It only has the one printing from Synchro Storm, and I think that everyone knows that it was basically the only good card from the set. Because of that, the card just ended up being really expensive, because if this is the only card that's worth anything in the set that you're buying, you have to figure how many boxes of the set you're going to have to open just to pull that card and figure out its price from there, considering that there wasn't really anything else noteworthy to pull or sell. Now initially, Baronne saw play because of Sword Soul as a generic rank 10 monster that you could use to negate Nibiru. I think that the card actually peaked at around $130 to $140 a piece. I think that a lot of people started to fear that Baronne would be reprinted in either Magnificent Mavens or Battles of Legend Crystal Revenge though, because the card did start to move down to around the $90 mark each. Now, however, we just got confirmation that Baronne isn't in either set, and so the card has already rebounded a little bit back up to $100. On top of this, the Shizu Tearlaments actually do run Baronne in their extra deck, as they can summon it using Diviner of the Heralds as a tuner, where you dump a level 4 to make the Diviner level 6 and then tune it with a level 4 monster. Interesting stuff. I was definitely among the people that thought it would be reprinted, so now I'm kind of stuck like wondering where it's going to be. I think it would have made sense as an OTS ulti, or maybe it could be a Starlight in Photon Hypernova, who knows. Either way, I think we should expect this card to go up over the next few weeks, because it is still an important piece of the extra deck of a tier 0 strategy, even though we all know that it's due for a reprint within the next few months, and we should expect it to be reprinted at some point in the near future. This is an unexpected one. The next card we're taking a look at is Striker Afterburners. So this is a super simple card. You pop a face-up monster on the field. Then if you have 3 or more spells in your graveyard, you also get to pop a spell or trap card. Now in Magnificent Mavens, we actually got most of these Striker cards reprinted, including the expensive ones like Shizuku, Engage, and Widow Anchor. This has made the Striker deck overall very, very budget friendly. However, Afterburners is one of the key cards from the deck left without a reprint, and it is the hardest one to pull. I mean, like, Multi-Roll and Hornet Drones, those weren't reprinted, but those were commons before, right? So they're more easily accessible. But Afterburners only has holo printings. Fortunately, it is ultimately just a one-of, since you want to have access to it off of Engage or Shizuku to pop a problematic monster or a floodgate like Mystic Mine, but you probably don't want to run too many copies because you don't want to see multiples in your hand. Now looking at this card's price, the original secret rares from back in Dark Saviors, this card was short printed, so those originals are back up to $18, almost $20 on TCG Player per copy. And then for either of the cards reprints, either the Ultra or Super, you're looking at around $7 to $8 a piece. Fortunately, this is just a one-of, so if you're wanting to grab one just like to finally build the deck, it really shouldn't be too bad at all. But this is still worth noting so that you can dig this card up out of your bulk if you have some, since the reprints used to be down at only $1 or so each. Alright, so this one's really random, but I do want to bring it up briefly. It's Master Pendulum the Draco Slayer. So in Darkwing Blast, we got some really cool new Pendulum Draco Slayer monsters, and they allow the deck to do some actually pretty cool things. I think that they can abuse Zealantis to summon Ignister Prominence multiple times and proc its effects. So of course the usual Pendulum cards have been looked at and targeted for buyouts, as we've discussed previously. But one that has kind of slipped through unnoticed over the past little while is Master Pendulum. This is a vanilla Pendulum monster with a scale effect that, while it's in the scale, allows you to pop a card in either of your Pendulum zones. Not the most useful effect, but it is a level 4 monster, and most often I think that you're summoning this card off of the effect of Ignister Prominence directly out of the deck so that you can extend your combos. While Draco Slayers aren't exactly what I'd call a top tier strategy, they are the most viable Pendulum deck in the game right now, and with the new support, players will naturally be drawn to them. Master Pendulum, I think, is usually played just at 2, but due to the popularity of the theme, this card has actually gone up in price considerably. It used to only be like a 10-cent card, so really negligible, but the card is now just 2 super printings, and both of those are from quite a few years ago, so now you're looking at $2 to $3 for a single copy. Not the biggest jump in terms of dollar value, but it's still worth taking note of. If you can, definitely dig them up out of your bulk and offload them to people that are looking to build the deck with the new support. And finally, to wrap things up for this episode, we're taking a look at a card that is seeing play over in the OCG. We have Mecha Phantom Beast Dracossack. So you older players will remember how important and annoying this card was back in Dragon Ruler format, as well as how it used to cost like $100 a piece. After years of not seeing play, apparently this card is being used over in the OCG as a tech in the extra deck for Kashtiras. The idea is that you can have tokens on the field and this card can't be destroyed by battle, so you could run it into something in order to make a copy of Zeus and then blow up the board, which is kind of neat. However, according to roadofthekings.com, you can also use the tokens that this card brings out as link materials. I won't get too much more specific here other than to say that this is a card that's probably worth noting will be used with the new Kashtira support we have coming at the beginning of 2023. Now fortunately, this card does have a super rare and rare printing, each of which is very cheap, under $1 each. However, the card has 2 secret rare printings that have gone up over the last month or so. The original secret rares from Lord of the Tachyon Galaxy are up at $25 to $30 each, and then we have the Megaton secret rares up as well, a little bit less, to around $10 to $15. Now admittedly, the secret rares do look really nice, and I actually think that this is the first time where they kind of like shifted the first edition text from being above the card's type to below the card's card effect, so you can actually tell the difference between the 2 secret rare printings. Picking up this card does provide double value if you want to play Dragon Ruler format, since it's an important 3-of back then as well. The more conservative, affordable option though is to just pick up a super rare for under $1, since it's the budget-friendly option that will still get the job done. Alright guys, that is all we have for today's episode. I knew that a Shizu tier was strong and that it was tier 0 in the OCG, but I think it's just been a really long time since we had such a dominant deck over here. I didn't realize how much stronger the deck was than every other deck in the format. I played Labyrinth at the regionals against it, and I just didn't stand much of a chance at all. So I guess it's back to the drawing board to see, and I think that's how much of the market is going to behave as well for now too. We have like those big shifts caused by Ishizu tier limits, and then a bunch of people just waiting on the next ban list to settle everything else for us to go in. Anyways guys, if you did enjoy today's market watch, please make sure that you let me know by slamming that thumbs up button for me. Also make sure you leave a comment in the comment section down below. Let me know what you guys think about the cards that we talked about today, as well as what other cards are trending on the market so I can cover them in future episodes. Also, if you haven't already, do make sure that you hit that subscribe button to get all of the latest and greatest content from both Tombox and myself. And until next time guys, don't forget to hold on to your MST.TV.